Close enough?
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Darlia's Dreams. And tonight we have a very, very special guest and one of my best friends, Karen, not from the internet, Kurtz. Karen, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, I couldn't be happier to have you. Usually I have pages of notes, and I have pretty much none for you because I know absolutely everything there is to know.
And
So,
I did give you a freedom of range so you can ask me anything you want.
which led me to I've got way too many questions for one show. So, probably we'll be announcing there'll be a new show named to be
Hmm.
announced in the next coming
Yep.
weeks. That will be Darlie and Karen show because we can't pack it all into Darlia's Dreams. There's just way too much with this one to uncover.
There's too much. I think we have a lot of topics to go over, both personally and politically, professionally, world topics, neighborhood topics, old stories that we used to do when we worked together.
Yeah, I have known Karen for over 25 years, which we
We've
must have
known
been
each other for
born.
two.
We've
Since
known
we
each
were
other
two.
since we were born 25 years ago. And to say that I am in awe of this person is an understatement.
That's very sweet. I don't know why. I can actually say that you saved my life.
Oh, I was going to go there on episode 2, but
Well,
now that we
you
are
brought it
talking
up.
about the topic, that is very true. And that's so long ago and so many bridges ago.
Yeah, we burned that bridge a long time ago.
Well, I'm glad I did. If I've done one thing right in my 25 plus years, it's saving your life. So,
Yes,
yeah. If I don't do anything else, I probably got some wings in
and
heaven.
maybe your children. But other
Yeah,
than
they're
that,
pretty good too. They're great too, but anytime you save a life, you get a little extra wing there. So, a couple of things I want to talk about.
okay.
So, not that it matters and not that this is like your number one quality that I want people to know about you, but I do have some questions about being a lesbian.
Oh, I just came out to everybody I know
Just today.
just now. You just told
Oh, I
everybody.
just outed you.
You just outed me.
So I want to roll it way back
Okay.
to when you first came out,
Okay.
and I've got a lot of questions, and I'm trying to decide where I want to start. So I really think the biggest question and the things that I would like, because I do a lot of follow your dreams and go for your heart and be who you are, etc.
Okay.
So I feel you've always been very true to yourself.
I try to be. I try. Doesn't always work. Doesn't always happen.
So if you don't mind kind of talking about your first career and coming out in corporate America and what it was like 25 years ago or whenever that was when you were a baby versus what it would be like to come out in corporate America now, because now I feel like it's almost a non-issue. So I'm just
I
curious as your
agree with
take
that.
on that.
Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. I did not come out when I came out when I was 19, 20, 21 years old. And I didn't even come out to all my friends and family at that time. I came out to my family, although they pretty much already knew. They were like, "Yeah, no kidding." Um, but when I didn't really come out at work either. I came out to my boss, who was one of my very good friends. To this day, she's still one of my good friends. She's one of your good friends too. Um, and I came out to a couple close people at work, but I didn't come out. And then when I went to a different company, I started off with one company, and that for the most part, I came out to my close friends there. But it wasn't talked about. It wasn't really. Um, I didn't say I was a lesbian. I didn't. I didn't introduce my girlfriend to anybody. We were very much in the closet. Um, then I went to work for another company and was not out at all because it was more construction than it was design and everything. And so didn't come out there at all. And that was hard because I was dating someone and I was in a relationship for 14 years. And the entire time, um, they didn't know that I was dating this person. And when I left that company, I told my partner, I was like, look, when I go to I work for TJX companies now. When I go to TJX, I'm gonna come out because I don't want to start a career this late in life and not be my true self. So one of the reasons I went to the TJX companies is because they're so diverse.
Yeah.
And I came out to my boss. I came out to everybody. Everybody knows that I am a lesbian, and I had a partner of 14 years, and they know that we split. They know that we sold the lake house. They know that I have stepkids. They ask me about my family. And it's fine. So coming out back then, 20 years ago, very difficult, very difficult. Now coming out, I don't think it's. I think people in the workplace are much easier and they accept it better. But a lot of families still don't accept their children if they're homosexuals.
Yeah. So that brings me to a couple of more questions because you just said something that I never really thought about. So back when we worked at Wolf Camera together, coming being gay was kind of the norm because we worked so closely with merchandising and all the different departments. So it
Yep.
wasn't really a huge deal, right? Even
Correct.
though I thought some people, when I saw their picture, I thought it was their husband, but I don't want to name any names. But I was just naive. But
Yes.
when you talk about working in construction, because both of us have always been project managers and danced around that construction field, because it's very hard for a female to get into construction and get respect, gay or straight.
Correct. It's much harder to be a female in construction. I am hands down in construction. I am manager development. I build and remodel projects across the southeast. All I deal with is men. We have 3 women in my department. As a manager of development, myself, those are 2 managers of development. I have 1 female project manager. Now we just promoted another one, so we have 2. But the rest of the department, all the project managers are men. When you go onto a construction site, 99% of them are men. And there were times where I would go onto a construction site and the project manager would introduce me to the superintendent or something. The superintendent would say, "Oh, is this your secretary? Is she here to take notes?"
Yeah.
And my project manager would have to say, "Karen, how do you want to handle this?" And I would say, "However you want." And he would say, "This isn't the secretary. She's my boss, and she's also your boss now." And so it's, and then they backpedal a lot, and I get a lot of sweethearts and blah blah blah. But then again, I'm not exactly, going in high heels and looking all femme either. So I think if you're smart enough and you're up with the times, I think you have a little bit more couth. But it is hard to deal with sometimes in boys club.
Yeah.
Definitely a boys club.
That's funny to hear you say that because, okay, here's another naivety coming out, because I honestly thought maybe it was easier in construction if you weren't so feminine, because I've gotten all the same sweethearts, "Who's this? Your secretary," blah blah blah. And I
Yep.
even remember many years ago when somebody said, "Oh, you should dress more like Karen in the khakis and the shirt." Yep, for real. For the
Really?
job sites. And this is back when I wore high heels and whatever.
Right.
But I don't necessarily always do that, but it shouldn't matter how I'm dressed. It's still,
Right.
when the acumen is there and the knowledge
Right.
is there, it shouldn't matter if you're a man or a woman. And so I think that's why I really tried to branch off into overall brand and signage, but we always kind of go back into interior builds and construction, and
Right.
sometimes when you're back in that environment, I'm like, this still exists? Like we're all just
Still
not
exists.
people, like
Still exists.
I do see though more females in the industry, which I like.
Yes, there are many more females in the industry. Um, Matter of fact, our vice president is retiring, and we promoted a female vice president, which I'm extremely excited about. And that is one of the things that TJX I like about TJX is they do like diversity. They do want to make people feel comfortable. They do celebrate Pride. They do celebrate Black History Month. They celebrate Asian History Month. They are very diverse company. So I think there's a lot of progress for sure, because there's no way I would ever get that support from Kroger. That's who I went to, work for before. And Wolf Camera was more supportive because, like you said, we were in merchandising. There was a lot of design, interior, and it wasn't necessarily construction. Um, I would never come out with my previous job to my bosses or anything, but this one, yeah, it's a big difference between 20 years ago and now. But it also depends a lot on the company,
Yeah.
and the knowledge and the knowledge of the company and the knowledge of the people that the company hires.
Yeah, I almost think that, quite honestly, Wolf Camera was a little ahead of its time. Like it was progressive, I would say,
Yes.
back in the day.
I
Like no matter what, I just don't know that anybody was made to feel uncomfortable.
Correct.
Now we had this one lesbian named Kay-Liz, and she went around and she recruited a lot of the straight women. So she earned many, many toaster ovens.
That is a true story. I think I've met her personally a couple of times.
But there was never this like bad image. Like it was just like that's why even to hear you say that you weren't really out in at Kroger was a little bit shocking to me, because I've always thought you've owned who you are, what you are, better than anybody I've ever known.
I owned it to the people who are close to me and those who deserve to know. But my bosses and the construction department as a whole, I they were just ignorant enough that they didn't deserve me, if that makes sense.
Oh no, that makes more sense than probably anything you've ever said. No, I'm just kidding. But it makes total sense, because I'm a very giving person, but I've had to learn to hold back because some people don't deserve all of it. Like some
Correct.
people, they need their life saved. Yeah, maybe they're not worth it.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one. I just think that, the people who are going to support me are the people who I'm going to, I'm going to show my integrity. I'm going to show who I am. I'm going to be very proud of who I am. I am very proud of who I am. I wasn't always, though, so that might be another subject. But
Another show. Check us out when we make the
just a little
announcement.
foreshadowing there. But yeah, the people at Kroger, most of them are good. Don't get me wrong, and there were people who were out there, and they were loved and they were respected and everything. But the department that I worked for directly, it wasn't that way. And like I said, I hid my relationship for 14 years. I worked there for 10, and for 14 years I hid my relationship. So
where does the extra 4 come from?
well, because I started, I was dating the person
Okay.
through Kroger and then into TJX, and we split up a couple years ago.
Okay. I mean, I'm not real good in math, but I always, when something doesn't add up, we're on 10 to 14. I
Yeah,
gotta find out where those
yeah.
4 went.
Yeah, I've been with TJX for 10 years, almost 11. So I
Alright.
dated the person, and I was with this person for 14 years, but not all 14 years was I with Kroger. It's like one of those math problems. If person A was with Kroger for 10 years,
But she hid her coming out from Kroger for 14. Where did the other
Exactly.
4 years come from?
find X.
Find it. So yeah, that's a good one. Okay. So
I don't want to find my ex.
no, and believe me, that is show number 4.
That's another
Because
show.
there are so many exes, folks. Actually, on show
Yes.
number probably 2, we're going to start doing Would You Like to Date Karen? And we're going to do a full would
Oh,
it be
sorry.
bachelorette adventure for Would You Like to Date Karen? But you're going to have to come to the table with a lot. And first of all, I'm going to be the judge, so I'm looking for personality. And when Karen comes in to judge, she might be looking for looks. I don't know what she's looking for. But that'll be show number 2. Maybe show number 1. Maybe we come out with our first episode on straight up, like
Dang.
come out with a bang. But I do want to talk on this episode a little bit about, you said a lot of families aren't accepting of people, and you're very lucky that your family was. And I think a lot of families aren't, probably because of religion. And I know I mentioned this earlier when we were talking, and I'll never forget when you were in college and you did the school project on religion and being gay and sexuality, and it's really stuck in my mind for when you told me about it, so at least 25 years, because I do think that's a big struggle, and with both of us being Methodist, we have a lot to talk about. Evidently Methodist, you can have a little alcohol, you can have a little foul mouth every now and then and have a good time, because that's what life is, right?
I mean, Footloose was our movie right there, man.
Yeah.
We made everybody
Whoa.
Footloose. So yes, I don't think a lot of people do. I think there are several. I was very fortunate. My family knew. When I told them, they were like, yeah, we kind of figured. They were kind of taking bets on the side. They thought I was going to come out a lot sooner. I did that sexuality. The topic of the project was just sexuality. That was it. And everybody did their husbands and their wives and their family and all that stuff. And I didn't take that route. I did mine all based on females and their sexuality as individuals, as me individually as a sexuality, and the Bible, and how people perceive sexuality in the Bible. And we had certain parameters that we had to follow, which I did not. And
Shocking.
It moved the teacher to tears, and it was displayed in college for everybody to see, and it was a powerful message, because I did overlays of my hand on the Bible, and the way it looked like there was a hole in my hand. So it was pretty powerful, and I feel badly for anybody who comes out, who struggles with coming out, and then comes out and their family doesn't accept them. I was fortunate. When I told my brother, he was just about to marry his wife. They were engaged, and I said, look, before you marry her, I want you to tell her that I'm gay. And he said, all right. I said, because she has a choice in the fact she doesn't have to marry into this if she's that against it. So he told her, and then she called me, and she said, I'm fine with it. I want you to be in our wedding. I want you to be one of my bridesmaids, and I would like your partner to sing at our wedding. So my partner at the time actually sang at my brother and sister-in-law's wedding. So I'm very fortunate. Not everybody has that. People get kicked out of their houses. People get banned. They get shot. They get killed. So if anybody's listening to this and they need help, hit me up on Facebook, DM me.
Yeah.
You got a support group. You're not alone.
I know, and it's so shocking to me that people still aren't accepted, or people still have those same struggles. And I feel that we're all a lot more educated, right? And we all understand more than we did like, I know I was naive at one point, and just being around it, being exposed, starting with Wolf Camera, and then just progressing, it seems that you would think nowadays that more families, especially, would be just open to that and accepting and appreciative that their relative shared that information with them.
Right.
Um, but it's tough.
I think, yeah, I think more families are more accepting, but there are still a handful where, um, it also, there's just a handful that just don't agree with it. They grew up in a different generation and they don't like it. They don't approve it. I mean, you've probably seen, interracial relationships. It's not just being homosexual.
Oh yeah.
All kinds of people being accepted or not accepted based on other people's beliefs. And I believe that if you don't like me, it's your loss.
Yeah, that's true. And
But
that's
if
right.
you do, then you get my number later.
Exactly. We'll get you on episode 2 or 1 for how to date Karen Kurtz, because we are looking for a girlfriend for this girl, because it needs to be a special one. But yeah, this is crazy, but I never really, I mean, I know interracial dating is perceived very negatively in some cultures, and I see it a lot when I go out to dinner with my husband or whatever. I get those looks and stares, and they think, oh, you're automatically like a layer below me, or not as worthy, or you're trash, or you're this or that. And
Or
it is
I see you and your husband, I think, oh my gosh, she's a movie star and he's the bodyguard.
exactly. Most people do think I'm the movie star and he's the bodyguard. But that's probably
But
more his.
we all know how that ends. The movie star falls in love with the bodyguard. So there
Yeah,
you have it.
exactly. But yeah, not everybody is
Didn't
that
mean to, yeah.
welcoming. So, okay, we're going to have to wrap this up.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry, you know me. I
Shark.
have to say it.
Hammerhead.
Shark, bite
Mm.
me.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Not gonna say.
No one's gonna get it until we get to the fifth or sixth episode.
Yeah, okay, they'll get it. They'll get it. Oh, hi.
That's my neighbor's dog, but she
Yeah,
comes over
she's
here.
spoiled, but not as spoiled as your dog. Okay.
No, so don't be unspoiled. All right.
All right. So, lots to cover, way more. We got way more to talk about. But before we end the show, I want you to give one piece of advice that you would give to either a young career person or a young person either in high school or junior high or what have you, that's struggling with coming out. What would you say to them to give them the courage, etc., to do so? Or maybe they just want to go into an interracial relationship. Whatever. Give them some advice.
I would tell them to stay true to yourself, be strong, and believe in yourself. Like, I think if you have the confidence and I think that's a big deal with a lot of people, is you don't have the confidence and you don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe you're worthy enough to be accepted. But if you really love someone and you are true to yourself, then you have to be strong enough to fight for yourself.
And is if you really love someone or if you really love yourself?
The most important, I do, and this will probably be on one of our shows, but I do a lot of reading on self-help and integrity and being your true self, and how to keep negative energy and toxic relationships out of your life. And I just read this morning with a friend of mine. We consider each other our work wives.
Does she
and
have
I
a
just read
toaster oven?
No, she doesn't have a toaster oven. No, no, no. She's straight. She's married. Not that that's ever mattered before, but we'll get into that in a different
Oh,
one.
yes, we will. Because I used to be
Oh,
so
yeah,
hurt. Like,
there's some
why doesn't
stories
she ever hit on me?
exactly. But there, the one thing it says is don't let people steal your energy. And if they
Absolutely.
do, you have to remember if you say no to someone else, it's not because you don't want to do it or you don't want to help them. It's because you physically can't. And the most important person in the world is yourself.
That's beautiful. I believe that.
Yep. And once you believe that, then everything else will be a little bit easier.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Take care of yourself.
yep. That's beautiful. All right. Well, guys, I will say we're getting ready to wrap this up, but be on the lookout for an announcement because we're just barely breaking the ice here
We
because we
are
could go
just
about another 42 hours without even needing to come up with any additional topics or extra
I
guests.
agree 100%. People have always told me, always, Karen, you should write a book.
Oh, yeah,
And
you
I
should.
think I think that I think with all the experiences that I've had and that you've had and that we've had together, and it goes back to you saving my life.
Thank
Um,
God for me.
I think
Sorry, can I
I
get a
think
shout out? No, I'm just-
there's 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 some people who are like, God dang it, Leah, why did you say her life?
why?
But I think we have a lot of ground to cover, and I think that hopefully what I want to get out of it is helping people
Yeah, me too. That's
and
all I want to
bringing
do.
a little bit of laughter. We got some good stories. We got some good laughing. Some tear jerkers. But I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's always finding laughter through the tears is what really helps you get through life.
Yep, absolutely. Finding the silver lining. There's
Yep.
silver lining in everything.
Yep. All right. Well, Karen, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I
I
love you more than life, and it's
absolutely
your
back at you,
background
sister.
so awesome, and it's just like she's their indicator, folks. Lots of trees and leaves, and um,
Lesbians.
yeah, and yeah, lesbians
Not,
and
not
random
really.
dog neighbors' dogs just walking up and getting a lick on
Yeah,
the
they
tip.
just come over because they have a gate. They have full access to the backyard. They have one of those like agility ramps. They just come up over the thing and come down, and they come in anytime.
All right.
We call it Camp Curtsy Bow Wow.
Yes. I've got two dogs. I'll be
But yeah,
dropping them off tomorrow. I don't know how
bring them
they'll get
up.
along with the other dogs, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Strongest survive. No.
Yep.
All
Be
right.
yourself, dogs. Just be
Be
yourself.
yourself, and the rest will follow.
Right.
All right. Well,
Well,
thank
thank
you
you so much.
again.
I really had a good time, and I appreciate this. This is
Yeah, I
fun.
did too. This is fun. We'll do it again very soon,
All
sooner
right.
than you all will even be able to stand it. Okay.
All right.
Bye.